Good afternoon. My name is Abigail Fry, and today, during my speech, I'm going to inform you on the supernaturalisms of the Salem witch trials and how groupthink and the power of fear can manipulate human perception. So does anyone remember that one interesting history lesson that we all learned about in school? Yes, it is the Salem witch trials. I love learning about the trials because of the supernaturalist ideas that tied into it. Supernaturalism to me is interesting and mysterious, and also the only topic brought up in history class that I actually opened up all my ears to. So in my speech today, I'm going to use the Salem witch trials to talk about the psychological effects on individuals, how fear can alter a society, and how the trials were important for our history and understanding of supernaturalism. So first, the long-term psychological effects of supernaturalism. Most people are aware of PTSD. People who went through the trials had to deal with the effects long after the trials had ended. And they also would have ideas engraved into their memories forever. The human mind is crazy as is, and after going through something as intense as the devil's work on a community, no one can just forget about that. And the memory and thought lives within forever, quite like PTSD. But also, it'll all come back in waves. This is like anything in life. You'll be doing great and everything seems fine, and it'll just hit you because it all comes back in waves. Another thing to think about is large crowds or people getting sick in public. Textbooks always state that the trials started over 2 little girls becoming ill. After the trials, people could have acquired claustrophobia or became hypochondriacs, meaning getting anxious in crowds, as well as seeing someone getting sick and thinking they are sick as well. You tie that in with the Salem witch trials, because if you're around a ton of people and somebody, say, gets sick in public, that can lead to thinking that the trials are going to start again because of the 2 girls basically dropping ill. So now that you know about how supernaturalism can affect an individual's psychological mindset, I'm going to share how fear can alter society. Durbin stated, 19 people executed, 1 man pressed to death during interrogation, and 4 others perished in jail. This quote clearly shows that people were put in situations to suffer and die due to fear of supernaturalism in Salem. The speaker, Martinway, stated that the cruel community response in an atmosphere of fear and anxiety were based on flimsy allegations made by teenage girls. And that was in the Martinway's reflection on the Salem witch trials academic journal. Therefore, showing us that the fear of the supernatural scared society so much they killed people based on what a teenage girl claimed, which in today's world would most definitely not be the sole reason a person was killed. And also, the trials had individuals only looking out for themselves, and they listened to fear over their right minds. Now that we talked about how fear can alter society, here's how history helps us understand. So the book, The Salem Witch Trials is a Crisis in Puritan New England by Don Nardo and Tanya Delaccio, has a whole section at the end of the book titled Remembering the Trials. And in that it says, the effects of the Salem Witch Trials were felt long after the end of the trials. Lessons were learned and things were subsequently avoided after the hysteria that took the lives of many during the fateful year in Salem, Massachusetts. These events showed people for years to come what can happen when an entire community is filled with fear and feeds into absurd beliefs without first consulting reason and objectivity, showing us that people were killed and wrongly accused, which was all driven by fear. Camasthong states that self-politeness strategies were critical in these trials because they helped the accused to achieve 2 goals. First, they could defend themselves, and second, at that time that the responses might have led them to being acquitted or to a partial and more lenient punishment. Knowing this can and has helped with trials or false accusations. A more religious aspect is Ouija boards. Playing with the devil is never the answer. Therefore, the history lesson we all actually enjoyed learning about was actually a gateway to something bigger, supernaturalism. We talked about psychological effects on individuals, how fear can alter society, and how the history of the trials were important to our understanding of supernaturalism. So thank you for listening to my topic of supernaturalism, and I hope you learned a little something about it. Thank you so much.